Some buildings defy logic and leave even the most seasoned archaeologists stumped. From colossal stone structures that seem impossible to move to intricate designs built by cultures we barely understand. These 15 mysterious buildings built by unknown cultures have left a trail of unanswered questions. Angkor, the vanishing empire. Angkor in the jungles of Cambodia is like something out of a Lost World movie. At its peak, this sprawling ancient city was the beating heart of the Khmer Empire, with Angkor Wat, its most famous temple, standing as a jaw-dropping testament to their architectural genius. Built in the 12th century, Angkor Wat is a masterpiece of design, featuring intricate carvings and a layout perfectly aligned with celestial patterns. The Khmer didn't just stop there. The entire city was a marvel of urban planning, with an advanced water management system to support its massive population. But by the 15th century, Angkor was abandoned. The reasons are still a bit murky. Some experts point to changing trade routes, others to wars or even environmental disasters like devastating droughts. Whatever the cause, nature wasted no time reclaiming the city. Massive trees now wrap their roots around ancient stones, adding to the site's eerie, otherworldly vibe. The mystery buildings in Angkor just show how even the mightiest civilizations can vanish into thin air. If you enjoyed diving into these mysterious buildings, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's coming next. The enigma of Puma Punku. Deep in the high-altitude plains of Bolivia lies Puma Punku, a mysterious stone complex that has left experts scratching their heads for centuries. This ancient site, located near the more famous Tiwanaku archaeological site, is believed to have been constructed by the Tiwanaku culture over 1,500 years ago. But here's the catch. No one really knows how they pulled it off. Puma Punku's claim to fame is its impossibly precise stonework. Some of these stones weigh over 100 tons and are intricately carved with interlocking grooves, drill holes, and straight lines that look laser cut. What's even wilder, the closest quarry is miles away, meaning these stones were somehow transported without wheels or pack animals. Adding to the intrigue, the site has been heavily weathered and looted over the years, leaving only remnants of what must have been a sprawling complex. Still, what's left is enough to keep researchers, history buffs, and conspiracy theorists hooked. Whether it was advanced engineering, divine inspiration, or something more extraterrestrial, Puma Punku remains a mystery. 3. Tikal, the ancient Mayan city. In the dense Guatemalan rainforest lies Tikal, one of the most jaw-dropping creations of the ancient Mayans. This sprawling city isn't just a handful of ruins. It's an entire metropolis that was thriving long before modern cities even existed, with towering pyramids, intricate carvings, and plazas that could easily fit a modern stadium. Tikal makes you wonder, how did they pull this off without cranes, trucks, or even the wheel? The Mayans built Tikal around 2,000 years ago, and at its peak, it was home to over 100,000 people. But here's the catch. It wasn't just a place to live. It was also a cultural and spiritual hub. The towering temples, some over 200 feet tall, weren't just impressive. They were designed to align perfectly with celestial events. These ancient architects clearly knew their stuff. Despite its brilliance, Tikal was abandoned around 900 Common Era, with no clear explanation for why its thriving civilization came to a halt. Theories point to war, famine, or even climate change, but the exact reasons remain elusive. Over time, the jungle reclaimed the city, hiding it from the world for centuries. 4. Mystery of the French abandoned building.
Right, and we are in.
Tucked away in the French countryside lies a sprawling, eerie building that seems to defy explanation.
Who has been here, mate?
It's massive, decayed, and oddly full of things that look like they were just recently in use. As the explorers wander through, the place reveals a bizarre mix of old-world charm, modern utilities, and unsettling remnants of its mysterious past. The journey starts with creaky steps and snow-covered floors, hiding potential hazards, holes, weak boards, and who knows what else. The team jokes nervously.
They're showing no fear! To the cranium, and Lesnar landed on his feet!
Anyways,
pointing out a set of footprints that are definitely not human. Whatever left those marks might still be nearby. Each room they enter is stranger than the last. One reveals fish tanks and abandoned beer bottles. Another, a grimy kitchen with surprisingly modern appliances. There's even a fridge stocked with random items, as if someone had just stepped out and forgotten to take their groceries. The deeper they go, the more bizarre it gets. A mattress in a random room looks like it was recently slept on, adding to the eerie feeling that the place might not be as abandoned as it seems. Down in the basement, they stumble upon a state-of-the-art washing machine and a jacuzzi, alongside a strange assortment of items. Buckets of salt, a shopping trolley, and even a massage room. The explorers can't help but wonder if it was a spa or a private residence or maybe some kind of retreat. It really looked like it was left in some kind of hurry. 5. The creepy Gundry Sanitarium.
There's a door. No. The door just opened by itself.
Between the peeling paint, collapsing ceilings, and eerie silence broken by weird noises, the Gundry Sanitarium feels like it's holding on to a lot of secrets. Baltimore's Gundry Sanitarium is a whole vibe, and not the good kind. This place was built back in 1880 by architect Charles Baker, originally as a women's retreat where they could rest. Sounds innocent enough, right? Well, fast forward a bit, and Alfred Gundry took it over and turned it into a psychiatric facility for children. That's where things took a seriously dark turn. By the late 1990s, rumors of abuse and neglect were swirling around. After a big investigation into the place's sketchy practices, it finally shut down in 2000. Since then, it's been rotting away, becoming one of Baltimore's most haunted spots. Urban explorers love this place. Even though it's falling apart and loaded with creepy vibes, Dan Bell and Nation of Decay decided to check it out, and what they found was straight out of a horror movie. We're talking doors moving on their own, unsettling noises, and dolls, yes, actual dolls, that seem to mysteriously change positions. There's also a super chilling story about a kid being thrown off the roof. Add in black mold, decayed walls, and religious song sheets scattered around, and you've got the perfect haunted setup. This is where it gets worse though. They found a freshly dead cat inside. Like, it still smelled fresh, and if the paranormal activity wasn't enough, there are rumors about people living inside the walls who aren't too friendly to trespassers. 6. The haunting ruins of Monte Palace Hotel. The Monte Palace Hotel was supposed to be a luxurious 5-star hotel with sweeping ocean views, lush surroundings, and the promise of paradise when it opened in the Azores in the late 1980s. Fast forward a few decades, and what remains is a crumbling, mist-shrouded shell that feels more like a post-apocalyptic movie set than a luxury retreat. The Monte Palace was ambitious, built to attract high-end tourists to the Azores, but it was ahead of its time. Back then, the Azores weren't exactly a hot travel destination. The hotel struggled to fill rooms, and within just 2 years, the owners abandoned the place entirely. Now, it sits quietly in decay, surrounded by dense greenery, with nature slowly reclaiming what humans left behind. Visitors who make their way to this eerie site often compare it to the aftermath of a nuclear disaster. Broken walls, rusting metal beams, and vegetation creeping through cracks give it a haunting charm. Signs warning, danger, entry forbidden, are ignored by curious explorers eager to wander its collapsing hallways. Inside, graffiti covers the walls, remnants of tiles hint at former grandeur, and puddles form from water dripping through holes in the roof. The rooftop, once a prime viewing spot for guests, now resembles an overgrown garden. Small trees and plants sprout from the cracks, a vivid reminder of how quickly nature takes over. The foggy weather only adds to the atmosphere, making it feel as though something, or someone, might be lurking in the shadows. 7. The abandoned home with a dark past. Tucked away in the southern United States, there's an old deserted house that once belonged to a family, a father, mother, and their 3 young daughters. On the outside, it probably looked like the perfect family home, cozy and full of love. But behind the front door, the reality was much darker. The house is like a time capsule, frozen in the moment the family left. Toys are still scattered around. Clothes hang untouched in the closets, and photos of happier days are left to gather dust. It might seem like a snapshot of a loving family, but for the mother and her daughters, it was a place of fear. The father's abusive behavior turned the house into a nightmare. Eventually, the mother and her daughters could no longer take it and decided to leave. In their rush to escape, they left everything behind. Every toy, every picture, and every part of their old life. They didn't look back. Soon after they left, the father disappeared as well, knowing he couldn't escape the consequences of his actions. The house was left empty, a chilling reminder of what the family had endured. For the mother and daughters, returning wasn't an option. Every room held painful memories they couldn't bear to face. The house now stands abandoned, full of broken furniture and walls that still echo the family's past. The toys, clothes, and photos that were left behind aren't just objects. They carry the weight of everything the family had to leave behind to survive. 8. The abandoned 1800s farmhouse. In the back roads of rural Alabama, an old, crumbling farmhouse stands forgotten, its history almost buried under layers of time. The roof is sagging, and the yard is littered with forgotten treasures: a half-rotted Mercedes, an abandoned pickup truck, and a race car overtaken by nature. But as the curious explorer steps inside, they're hit with something eerie, a past left intact. The farmhouse, which George and Joyce had called home since 1961, had once been a place of warm family values. But as the world outside changed, so did the family. The children, once raised with the prejudices of a past generation, left home and began to challenge those long-held beliefs. By the time George passed in 2011, the house seemed to have been abandoned, left to stand as a monument to outdated ideas. Inside, the house is a time capsule, an eerie snapshot of a family's history frozen in time. The furniture and antiques are intact, as if waiting for someone to pick up where they left off. The floors creak underfoot, revealing old photo albums, a collection of vintage items, and even old medicine bottles. The rooms are filled with relics, wooden toys, baseball trophies, dusty lamps, and books, many dating back to the early 20th century. The house feels like a museum, but with the unsettling sense that the family simply walked away, leaving it all behind. Among the most striking finds are old, handcrafted pieces, like a pair of antique swords, old diaries, and family portraits from as far back as 1913. There's even a wedding photo from 1969, a reminder of the couple's happiest day. But perhaps most unsettling is the sheer volume of forgotten memories: old letters, unused china, and an assortment of relics from a bygone era. Some rooms are so full of clutter that they've become almost impassable, while others reveal personal items stashed away, perhaps to keep painful memories hidden. Even the kitchen, with its stone walls and old farmhouse charm, feels stuck in time. A calendar from November 1998 hangs on the wall, reminding the visitor just how long it's been since anyone set foot here. It's a strange place, full of history yet devoid of life, leaving behind only the memories of a family and their outdated values, quietly decaying with the house. 9. Exploring an abandoned Mecca bingo and old theater. In this eerie exploration, the camera takes us inside an abandoned Mecca bingo hall, giving us a glimpse of what remains of the once popular social space. The atmosphere is strange, with bits of old furniture and relics scattered around, hinting at its past. The seating areas, while covered in dust and bird droppings, still stand as quiet witnesses to the place's former buzz. There's a lingering sense of nostalgia as the crew walks through the empty halls, some of which still carry the echoes of the past, with faded bingo number boards and broken-up tables. As they venture further, the explorers discover a forgotten projector room. This place was once a theater, long before it became a bingo hall. The crew members joke around about the broken equipment and the strange, dimly lit spaces, but there's an undeniable thrill in seeing it all stripped down, untouched by modern renovations. The excitement is palpable, especially when they climb up to the rafters, revealing a view that seems to stretch forever. It's as if time itself has paused here. What's even more fascinating is the unexpected mix of decay and hidden gems. There are still remnants of the old-world charm in the form of cobwebbed projectors and vintage equipment. Some parts of the building have been left in ruin, with peeling walls and broken windows, while others seem to have been cleared out, hinting that there might have been plans to repurpose the space. 10. The forgotten Pennsylvania Turnpike. Right in the midst of Pennsylvania, there lies a 13-mile stretch of road that feels like it was plucked straight out of a post-apocalyptic movie. And fun fact, it actually was. The desolate Pennsylvania Turnpike, built in 1940, once bustled with traffic as cars zipped through tunnels carved into the Appalachian Mountains. These tunnels weren't just any tunnels, they were repurposed from an abandoned railroad project, making them the ultimate recycling job. But despite its clever beginnings, the Turnpike's story took a turn. By the 1960s, the booming automotive industry became its downfall. Traffic jams and delays turned this engineering marvel into a bottleneck nightmare. So, in 1968, the decision was made to shut it down for good. Over time, nature began reclaiming the road, and what was once a modern thoroughfare became an eerie, overgrown relic. Since its closure, the Turnpike has found a second life in some unexpected ways. Hollywood came calling in 2009, using the abandoned road as the perfect setting for the dystopian film The Road, directed by John Hillcoat and starring Viggo Mortensen. The military also saw potential in the empty tunnels and vast roadways, using them to store vehicles and aircraft, and even to train troops heading to Iraq in the early 2000s. Talk about a versatile piece of infrastructure. Today, the Turnpike is a shadow of its former self, with 2 abandoned tunnels and crumbling asphalt lending it a haunting vibe. Graffiti-covered walls, rusting signs, and the eerie quiet of nature reclaiming the land make it a magnet for urban explorers and history buffs alike. Walking along this forgotten stretch feels like stepping into another world, a place where time stopped and the echoes of the past linger. 11. The abandoned Rothschild Mansion. Hidden behind dense trees and a golf course that has seen better days lies the abandoned Rothschild Mansion, a sprawling estate steeped in mystery and whispers of elite secrecy. This grand structure, now left to decay, is shrouded in rumors of hidden tunnels, secret chambers, and even sacrificial basements, though that might just be the internet talking. Once a lavish home to one of the wealthiest families in history, it's now a magnet for urban explorers and conspiracy theorists alike. The mansion, surrounded by overgrown greens and patrolled by private security, feels like something out of a spy thriller. Cameras lurk in the trees, motion sensors guard the grounds, and the air of exclusivity remains thick. Explorers brave enough to venture close have documented crumbling walls, rotting curtains, and remnants of its opulent past, a stark contrast to the state-of-the-art security still in place. But it's not just the mansion that draws attention. Adjacent to it is a golf course that looks more like a wildlife sanctuary, complete with roaming deer and neglected bunkers. The estate also boasts a family cemetery, where the graves of the Rothschild lineage add another layer of intrigue. Some say their true resting places might be within a private chapel or a hidden tomb, but who's to say? In recent years, the mansion's story has taken a darker turn. Security guards have reported break-ins and vandalism, with one guard even describing a harrowing encounter with intruders just a day before an exploration. Despite the risks, the allure of this decaying symbol of wealth and power continues to captivate those who dare to peek behind the curtain. 12. Villa Carbonetto, the mansion too haunted to handle. The Villa Carbonetto has been abandoned for over 70 years, but its eerie charm remains intact. Once a luxurious estate owned by a wealthy family, this hauntingly beautiful mansion has been left to decay. Its ornate architecture, grand spiral staircases, and secret passageways now cloaked in dust and mystery. Today, it's owned by a secretive Swiss company, adding another layer to its enigmatic allure. The family who lived here were known for their opulent gatherings, barring common folk from entering their exclusive events. However, beneath their prestigious image lies a darker tale. Rumors suggest some family members may still linger, not in life, but as restless spirits. The chapel within the mansion houses their sealed mausoleum, its entrance bricked up to deter grave robbers. Visitors have reported strange occurrences near the mausoleum, from flickering lights to inexplicable sounds echoing through the halls. Exploring the villa is like stepping into a time capsule. Elaborate frescoes and massive fireplaces adorn the rooms, while secret staircases lead to areas like the servants' quarters, where the atmosphere turns from eerie to outright chilling. In the chapel, ghost hunters have recorded strange electromagnetic activity, including a mysterious voice seemingly warning, "Come back by yourself." It's enough to send shivers down the spine of even the bravest explorers. 13. The Lost Treasure Box with a Royal Mystery. A metal detector enthusiast struck gold, literally, when they uncovered a treasure box filled with gold coins and ornate dishes. The discovery wasn't just about the items, it was about what the find hinted at. This treasure box, buried in an unassuming patch of overgrown land, is believed to be linked to an ancient palace that once stood in the area. The location's overgrown landscape shows traces of human activity, with subtle remnants of what could have been the foundation of a grand structure. The gold coins and the elaborate designs on the dishes reveal a glimpse of a forgotten culture. The craftsmanship points to a society with refined tastes, likely a group that flourished centuries ago, but left behind little trace. The treasure box itself, secured with a time-worn lock, was likely hidden deliberately, possibly during an invasion or some catastrophic event. Whoever buried it clearly intended to keep it safe, but they never returned to retrieve it. Researchers are investigating the surrounding area for signs of the palace or settlement. Uneven terrain and scattered stone fragments suggest there might be something buried deeper underground. Historians are already speculating that the treasure could have belonged to a royal family or wealthy merchants operating along an ancient trade route. 14. Creepy abandoned 1970s home with secret tunnels. Hidden in the middle of nowhere, this abandoned 1970s ranch bungalow is the kind of place that raises way more questions than it answers. Built in 1974, the house sprawls across acres of property and comes with some truly eerie surprises, including a system of underground tunnels that connect the garage to the house. At first glance, the house seems like your average retro home. It has all the classic touches: breeze blocks along the front, wood-paneled interiors, and colorful 1970s tiling in the bathrooms. But the real intrigue starts in the double-car garage, where you'll find a narrow tunnel leading directly to the basement. Sadly, the basement is flooded now, making it impossible to explore further. But it's enough to get the imagination going. Why was the tunnel built, and who thought it was a good idea to connect it to a house in the middle of nowhere? Inside, the house is a time capsule of 1970s design, complete with parquet floors, accordion-style closet doors, and even an old-school cassette player still sitting in the garage. The kitchen is another retro gem, with checkered backsplash tiles and built-in bookcases adding to the vintage vibe. While most of the appliances have been updated, the rest of the house feels untouched, like the owners just vanished one day. What's really creepy, though, is how heavily the house and even the outdoor sheds are boarded up. Despite all that effort, the doors are unlocked and some windows are shattered, leaving an unsettling sense of abandonment. The plywood over the breeze blocks is particularly puzzling. Why block something designed to let air flow through? 15. The mysterious house of Nikolai. This one is just plain eerie and has unsolved mystery written all over it. The story revolves around a young boy named Nikolai, who lived in this house with his family, or so it seems. Photos found inside show Nikolai with different families, not just a few snapshots either. Entirely different people in what should have been his family portraits. It feels like pieces of the puzzle are missing, and no matter how you arrange them, nothing quite fits. The house itself was abandoned around 2013, but it still holds plenty of questions. A conversation with a longtime neighbor only made things murkier. When asked about the house's occupants, he shrugged and said, "I've been living here forever, and I never saw anyone coming or going much." Apparently, the family kept to themselves, but the neighbor did notice one odd detail. Different faces showed up at the house every day except for Nikolai. The boy, he said, was the only constant. Who were these people? Were they relatives, friends, or something more sinister? And then there's the strange case of Grandma, who seemed to play some role in the house's story, but how or why remains unclear. The whole setup feels like a ghost town in miniature, frozen in time, with Nikolai at the center of it all. When the house was finally explored, it was as if the family had just vanished, leaving everything behind. Toys, furniture, photos, everything still in its place, gathering dust. Yet, no one could explain what happened to Nikolai, or why the house was left untouched. So, which of these mysterious structures and their stories intrigued you the most?